We have been working on using a variety of strategies and tools to solve unknown differences. Remember, a difference is the total that you get when you subtract. So when we are putting numbers together, we're adding and we get a sum. When we're taking numbers apart, we're subtracting and we get a difference. Today we're going to continue that work. I'm going to show you how to do that with story problems, and then at the end I'm going to give you a number quilt game, and I need you to use those strategies in order to solve and play the game. So my first story problem is I have 10 cats. 5 of them are wearing hats. How many are not wearing hats? So this is a subtraction problem. I'm not adding more cats with hats. In fact, I'm trying to figure out how many don't have hats. So I have to take away the cats with hats to find out how many cats don't have hats. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to write out my equation. We said that there was 10 cats and 5 of them are wearing hats. So I need to take away those 5 cats from the total of 10. And then I'm trying to find out how many cats are not wearing hats. So I'm solving for that unknown difference, this unknown total. So now I'm going to draw 10 circles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Did you notice how I use 5 groups? Once I have 5 circles, I go on the bottom and see how many. Each time I have 5, I go down and regroup. It just makes it easier to use 5 groups. So I need to take away 5. Well, that's easy. I just take away this whole row because they're in 5 groups. And so that gives me 5 left. So 5 cats are wearing hats and 5 cats are not wearing hats. Let's take a look at another story problem. My next story problem is I have 8 blocks. I use 5 to make a building. How many blocks are left? So once again, the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to make an equation. So I said that there is 8 blocks, but I use 5 of them to make a building. So I'm taking that away. I'm losing blocks. And now I'm asking how many blocks are left. I'm solving for that unknown difference. I'm going to show you another strategy, and this is that counting on strategy, but for subtraction. So the first one, it was like counting all, where we drew all the circles, took them out, and then counted how many were left. In this one, it's counting on, but for subtraction. It's almost like counting back, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put 5 in my head. When you do this, you're going to put the smaller number in your head. Weird, right? Because before, with addition, you'd want to put the bigger number in your head so that there was less to count. With subtraction, we're going to put the smaller number in our head, okay? So I'm going to put this 5 in my head, and I'm going to count on until I get to 8, okay? So I'm putting 5 in my head, and I'm counting on until I get to 8. 5, 6, 7, 8. Did you notice, see how this is crooked. Did you notice how I put 5 in my head and I counted on until I got to 8, drawing a circle for each number I passed until I got to 8. So then I'm going to count my circles. 1, 2, 3. I have 3. So that means 3 blocks are left. I'm going to do 2 more problems using that counting on strategy in subtraction. My next story problem is I have 12 pairs of shoes, but I give 5 of them away. How many shoes do I have left? So I'm going to make that equation. Always my first step. It's the sentence for math. So I had 12 pairs of shoes, but I gave 5 away. And I want to know how many shoes are left. This is a subtraction problem. I'm not putting more shoes in. I'm not getting more. I'm actually losing them. and I'm losing 5 pairs of those. So I'm trying to solve for this unknown difference. When you are using that counting on strategy for subtraction, you're going to put the smaller number in your head. Once again, this is so different from when we would add, right? Where you wanted that bigger number. When we're subtracting, we want that smaller number. So I'm going to put 5 in my head. This line just helps me know this is a number I'm going to put in my head. And I'm going to count on until I get to 12. Okay, so 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So I put 5 in my head. I counted on until I got to 12, making a circle for every number I passed until I got there. Now I'm going to count how many circles I have, because that's going to tell me my unknown difference. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I still have 7 pairs of shoes. We're going to do one more, and then I'm going to show you the number quilt and how you can either use that counting all strategy that we're so familiar with, where you would draw 12 circles, take away 5, count the remaining, or the one that I really encourage you to try, especially if that counting all is in the bag. You already know how to do it. Try this counting on. It's faster and it leaves less room for error. And I'm going to show you why in this next problem. My next problem is I baked 65 cookies. Brian and Daniel ate 52 cookies. How many cookies do I have left? So I'm going to write my equation. I baked 65 cookies, but Brian and Daniel ate 52 cookies. And I want to know how many cookies are left. I'm solving for that unknown difference here. Okay? Let me show you how counting on is a better strategy because it's going to leave less room for error. Now, if I was doing the counting on, I'm going to have to draw 65 circles. Okay? Then I'm going to have to take away 52 circles. When you're doing that, you might add too many circles. Instead of 65, you might accidentally put 66. Or you might not put enough. You might put 60 circles. Your answer's already going to be wrong. Let's say, hey, you put the 65. You double checked it. That's going to take a long time. But now you have to count again. You have to count 52. You have to take away 52 circles. And this opens up room for error too, where you can make a mistake. Because you might accidentally take more circles away. You might take away 55 circles. You might not take enough away, where you might take 40 circles away. When we are counting on, we're leaving less room for errors, less room for mistake. So I'm going to put 52 in my head, and I'm going to count on until I get to 65, making a circle for every number I pass until I get here. Okay? 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65. Look at that. Way less drawing for me as a mathematician, which means less room for mistakes. Now let me count how many circles. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, plus 3 is 13. There's 13 cookies left.
All right, now it's your turn. You're going to be given some subtraction equations that you need to solve. I highly recommend doing that counting on strategy with subtraction. If that's feeling too difficult, or if you're not being successful, if you're not finding the right difference, then go back to counting all, okay? So the way how this works is that you have this equation card right here. This one says 10 minus 5 equals what? Let's say I solved it and I'm saying 10 minus 5 equals 4. I'm going to pull it over here to the 4. So essentially, these numbers here count as your difference. Okay, so you want to drag them over to whatever you think is the right difference. When you're finished, turn this in to Google Classroom.